Good morning, all. Let us revise the internal quiz questions because few of you are having the doubts. Let us clear all those doubts with respect to the quiz questions. Okay. I hope all are listening. The question is in dash cryptography, both the sender and the receiver will share a common secret. And this is, obviously it is a secret key cryptography because a secret key will be shared by both the sender and the receiver at both the sides. Okay, the sender will be using a key for encryption. At the receiver, the same key will be used for the purpose of decryption. Okay, so when both are having a common secret, it is nothing but the secret key cryptography. Okay, now in the two distinct keys, in a dash cryptography, two distinct keys forming a key pair are used. Distinct means we will be having a two different keys. At the sender will be using a one key for encryption. At the receiver, another key will be used for the purpose of decryption. Okay, that is the concept of public and private keys, right? So this is the answer for this is public key cryptography. The third question, DES. DES is an example for secret key cryptography or public key cryptography. The answer is the secret key cryptography because it will if a 48-bit key will be XORed with the array values. Okay, as we know the construction of the DES. Okay, a common secret key is used. So it is a secret key cryptography. Now the fourth question is with respect to the RSA algorithm to find the ciphertext. So the message M is given, P is 11, Q is 19. So you will be calculating the N value. N will be the multiplication of 11 and 19. Okay. And the phi value will be calculated, which is P minus 1 into Q minus 1. Then the encryption key, that is the public key, which is known as the E value. It is already given here 17. Using this, you can calculate the private key, that is D value. Okay, then encryption will be done with the usage of the public key E, and decryption will be done with the usage of the private key D value. Okay, so here we have asked only to find the ciphertext, that is you have to do the encryption. Okay, the answer you will be getting it as 80. Then fifth question, skimming attack is a type of identity theft, information theft, disruption of service, and information warfare. The answer is identity theft because it may involve the usage or the information gathering of about the individual personal details. Okay, so it is an identity theft. SQL injection. We know that SQL injection is a software vulnerabilities. Okay, and also it comes under information warfare. Okay, for the sixth question, the answer is information warfare. Okay, so again in information warfare we will come across the virus, worms, and Trojan concepts. Okay, so SQL injection is a kind of information warfare. The seventh question, the user clicks on a link in an email received from a questionable source. So this is an example for which of the vulnerabilities, whether it is human, software, protocol, or configuration. Okay, so answer is the human vulnerabilities because the user clicks on a link in an email received from a questionable source. Here without checking for authentication of the sender. Okay, so obviously user is performing a click operation on the link. Okay, so it is the human vulnerabilities. Answer is human vulnerabilities. Question number 8. The privilege level assigned to a process can be higher than what it should be to carry out a task level. This is an example for again which of the vulnerabilities. So again here it is with respect to the level assigned to a process. Okay. For example, if I consider a file can be depending on the type of the file. Okay, whether we are using the file for the read purpose or whether we need to update some of the contents of the file. Okay, or okay, so whether I'm using that particular file for a specific purpose. Okay, and depending on what type of the file. Okay, we can give various permissions to the file. Okay, so giving unnecessary permissions may lead to the misuse of the data. Okay, so for example, instead of only reading option, I can give the writing option also. So where if I give the writing option, the other user, okay, or attacker can modify the content of the file. Okay, so that permission is not at all needed. Okay, so this is a privilege level assigned to a process. Okay, it's an example for configuration vulnerabilities. Okay, next, if B and C are relatively prime, then there exist integers x and y such that b into x plus c into y is equal to 1. So this is a corollary of the GCD theorem as we know. So if we have the two numbers b and c which are relatively prime, that means co-prime numbers. Okay, that means b and c are not divisible by each other as well as it is not divisible by any other number except the value 1. Okay, then we have such b and c. Then if you multiply b with some other value x and if you multiply c with some other value of y, then if you are performing addition of those two, then its value is equal to 1. And this condition is satisfied only if b and c are co-prime to each other or relatively prime. So answer is true. Okay. So now consider the field Galoisian field of 2 to the power cube and the given irreducible polynomial x cube plus x plus 1. Okay, the value of x square plus 1 and x square multiplication is given by which of the following answer. So here for the Galoisian field of 2 to the power cube, we know we will be getting two irreducible polynomial, and here we have given only one irreducible polynomial among those two, and using that, okay, now if you multiply the x square plus 1 and x square, okay, I will be getting the value as what? X to the power 4 plus x square, right? X square plus 1 into x square, I will be getting it as x to the power 4 plus x square. Then I will be dividing that value by the irreducible polynomial x cube plus x plus 1. Okay, so when that is, I will be dividing it as x cube plus x plus 1 into x. When I perform x cube plus x plus 1 into x, I will be getting it as x to the power 4 plus x square plus 1 plus x. Okay, x to the power 4 plus x square plus x. So when you divide this term, I will be getting the remainder as x. Because x to the power 4 and x square terms will get cancelled, remaining I will be having the value x. The answer is x for the 10th question. Then 11th question, modulus factorization. So we know the various types of the attacks which can be performed on the RSA. We have modulus factorization, okay, then side channel attack, okay, then we have one more small exponent attack. Three types of attacks are possible on the RSA. So one among that is modulus factorization. So modulus factorization, by the name itself indicates it is a factorization, okay, that is finding the factorization values of the modulus n value. Okay, by the name itself we can tell the answer. Okay, so it is an attack on the mathematical foundation of RSA. Okay, because why it is a mathematical foundation? Because we'll be finding the factors of n. We know that in RSA the value of n equals what? P into q. Okay, so the aim of the attack here is to find the values of p and q. Okay, which gives us the modulus n value. So The answer is C. It is attack on the mathematical foundation of RSA. Next, side channel attack. Side channel attack again can be performed using various ways. So one is based on monitoring timing and power measurements of a cryptographic algorithms. Okay, we know the pseudocode for this also. Okay, that is how the square and multiply operation will be performed. Sir, sir, okay, so square and multiplication operation is used to increase the multiplication decryption time, right? Decryption time at the of the RSA algorithm. That is, at the decryption time, we are performing again multiplication also. The formula used is c to the power d mod n. Okay, so to decrease the multiplication time at the decryption, the square and multiply method will be used. So the pseudocode for square and multiply was discussed. Okay, and what are the advantage and disadvantage also, and how an attacker will come to know the values of 1 and 0 for the given decryption key value. So side channel attack is based on monitoring timing and power measurements of cryptographic algorithm. Okay, so here among the given answers, the answer is B for the side channel attack. Okay, so apart from this, the other answers for side channel attack is by inducing a fault. Okay, by inducing the fault in the hardware devices. So here, according to the given choices, the answer for the 12th question is the B. Answer is B. Then 30th question, after the 48-bit XOR operation, the number of substitution boxes used in DES are. So in DES we know that is at the time of encryption. Okay, after the 48-bit XOR operation, 48-bit XOR operation is nothing but between Ri minus 1 and the key values. Okay, so that will get converted into again 32-bit. So to get 32-bit output after the XOR operation, okay, so we need S boxes. We need X boxes. So each X box will take a 6-bit input and it will produce us the 4-bit output, right? So if a single S box is giving a 4-bit output, so totally I need 32 bit. So I need 8 into 4. I need 8 S boxes. So 8 into 4 giving us totally 32 bit output. So therefore the answer for the question number 13 is A. That is 8. We need 8 S boxes. Okay, to get the 32 bit output. Then question number 14. In dash of the following modes, the output of the previous stage is not given as input to the next stage for the computation. Okay, so here we have ECB mode, CFB mode and CBC mode. Okay, so here in ECB mode, okay, we will be not making use of the previous stage output to the next stage input. Okay, that is the ECB mode. Answer is A. Then 15th, a ring satisfies the properties. Okay, we know that. Let us, before moving on to the ring, let us have the properties of a group. The properties of the group are, it must satisfy closure, associativity, then inverse and identity. 4 properties must be satisfied by the group. Then in the ring, we have the 2 operations. Okay, so for each of the operation, okay, the first operation must satisfy the all abelian group properties. The abelian groups are closure, associative, inverse, identity, and also commutative. Okay, then when we consider the second operation, okay, it must satisfy the associativity, closure, okay, then the distribution law between the two operators. These are the minimum requirements for the ring. So the answer is A here. Okay. Then field. So in the case of the ring, for the second operation, okay, we have limited options. Okay, so for the field we have other option to be satisfied for the second operation. Obviously for the first operation it must satisfy all the abelian group properties, and for the second group it must satisfy again all the abelian group properties. That means along with the thing, the main thing here in the field is for the second operation it should have multiplication identity, right, and multiplication inverse. That is very much important for the field. Okay, that's along with the ring property. For the second operation, the field will satisfy the commutative of multiplication also and multiplicative identity. Okay, the answer is D here. Okay. So some of you have got the options at the time of the test. Only three options you may have got. So among the three options, this answer D, which is here, is present in option C. Okay. So you would have marked answer C. You will get the marks. Answer C at the time of the quiz when you are attending has the all the answers present in the option D here, what I am discussing. Okay. So next 17 question. A collision occurs if we have the value of x equals y and we have h of x equals h of y. So here we know the various hashing properties. Okay, so now let us discuss the hashing properties. Hash of So for your reference, I am giving you the points here. So if I have the value of x and when I apply the hash function on the x value, I will be getting the hash of x. Similarly, I will be having one more value of the y. When you apply the hashing function on y, I will be getting h of y. So there is a chances that h of x can be equal to h of y. Okay, but that does not mean that the value of x equals the value of y. For example, if I have x is equal to 2, then h of x, let us assume I am getting it as 5. Then let us assume I have y is equal to some 8. H of 8 should be equal to value 5 only. Okay. So here x is equal to 2 and y is equal to 8. They are not same. Okay. That is 2 cannot be equal to 8. I cannot have y also equal to 2. Okay. So the answer is false. Then 18th question. Given a hash value y, I have the some hash value y. It is computationally infeasible to find an input x such that h of x equals y. Okay. That is, I have already a given hash value. Okay. Now for me, it is infeasible to find the value of x. Okay. Giving the value of y. Attacker should not be able to find the value of x for the given hash value. So if the value of x, if the attacker is having the value of the x, by applying the hash function on the x, he should not be able to get the y back. That means he is not able to find the value of x. So this property is known as a one-way property. Similarly, now I have the one input x1, okay, and I also have the hash value of the x1, okay, and now for me it is computationally infeasible to find another input x2 such that when I find h of x2, okay, that should not be equal to h of x1. That means h of x1 is equal to h of x2. This type of the answer is computationally infeasible to find by getting the value of x2. Okay, so this is known as a weak collision resistance property. This is known as a weak collision resistance property. Okay, now here is one more confusion for you people. To consider the Hill cipher using the block size of the 2 and the key matrix used for encryption in the Hill cipher must be. So we know that the formula for encryption is C is equal to the plain text P into the matrix K. So matrix K will be M into M matrix, that is a square matrix, and also the one more precautions to be taken while choosing the matrix is that it should be invertible. Okay, that means I should be able to find the inverse of an element present in the matrix. Okay, because at the time of the decryption I will be using the K inverse. Okay, ciphertext into K inverse to find the plain text back. Okay, so if while at the time of encryption, if you fails to choose a matrix elements such that we are failing to find the inverse of each of the element, then decryption will not be successful. So the that is the square, that is the matrix used for at the time of the encryption, it must be a square matrix, and also it must be an invertible matrix. Okay, so those who have answered for square also you will get marks, and those who have answered for invertible, okay, you will for that also you will get the marks, no problem here. Okay, since you people will find the confusions here. Okay, so answer is A or B. You people will get the marks. Then question number 21. Yeah, here I have z is equal to 3 mod 8, z is equal to 1 mod 9, and z is equal to 4 mod 16. And the values of x1 is 3, x2 is minus 5, and x3 is 2. Compute the value of x. Okay, so this is based on the Chinese remainder theorem. Okay, it is depend on it is using the Chinese remainder theorem, and for the Chinese remainder theorem we know the values of the modulus value, okay, must be co-prime to each other. So here I have z is equal to 3 mod 8. So in the first expression I have 8 modulus value. In the second expression I have z is equal to 9. In the third expression I have z is equal to 16. Okay, so 3 is so the different modulus values are 8, 9 and 16. 8 and 9 are co-prime to each other, but 8 and 16 are non-co-prime to each other because 16 is divisible by 8. Okay. Similarly, 9. 9 is co-prime with 8, but 9 is not co-prime with 16. Okay, so since the your initial condition itself is failing, okay, the answer for this is none of the above. You cannot proceed to find the answer. Okay, since the modulus value are not co-prime to each other. Okay, then 22nd, the fi function in SHA1 for the bits, we know that the bits, the given block of the data will be divided into the various small boxes, right, of each of 20 bits. Okay, 1 to 20, then 21 to 40, then 41 to 60, like that. Okay, so for this is in SHA1, to say we know that SHA1 is a cryptographic hash function. Case study for cryptographic hash function. Okay, the FI function for this is answer is C. S2 and S3 versus S2 and S4 or S3 and S4. Then find the ciphertext for the following plain text using the Caesar cipher with key size is equal to 4. I am studying 6th sem CSC. Okay, so we know that alphabets are assigned the value from 0 to 25. A will get value 0, B 1, C 2, like that we will proceed. Okay, Z will get up to 26. So like that if you proceed in the Caesar C4, the key size is given 4. That means for the letter I, after I, J, K, L, M, I will be getting the fourth letter after I as the M. Okay, so here you have the option between A and B. So now we have to find out which one is the correct answer from the option A and B. So check for the second letter A. The fourth letter for A is, after A is B, C, D, E. Okay, so for the M I will get Q. For S, after S 4 letter W. For T it is X. For U it is Y. Like that I will find. For CSC I will be getting GWI. So answer is B. Then HMAC performs an extra hash computation but provides greatly enhanced security. Yes, answer is true. Okay, because here they will be making use of the uh, more than one level hashing functions. Okay, on the constant values. Okay, that is OPAD and IPAD, right? So answer is true. The main purpose of the plain text padding here is to prevent the plain text guessing. Yeah, this we will get from the PKCS, public key cryptography standard concept. Okay, from the topic. Okay, we will come to know to prevent the plain text guessing. Okay, the plain text padding will be done. That is, before the encryption, the plain text will be padded with the values. Okay, that is the format we have, right, in the PKS standard. 0 followed by the hexadecimal value 02, then followed by the padding values, then followed by the 00, then followed by the plain text. This is done to prevent the plain text guessing, so that an attacker, attacker will fail to find the plain text here. Okay, the answer is B. Next, PKS hash 1 is not one of the set of the 15 standards for the public key cryptography developed by RSA laboratory. The answer is false, because PKS hash 1 is one of the set of the 15 standards. Okay. Question number 29. Sorry, 27. So consider the value of n is equal to 5 and r is equal to 3. The congruence class is, we have to choose between A, B and C. The answer is A. Okay, because here we know the formula for the dividend, that is D is equal to the value n into quotient plus the remainder. Okay, so initially we have to choose quotient is equal to 0, next quotient is equal to 1, next quotient is equal to 2, like that we will be proceeding. So initial stage, when when q quotient is equal to 0, I will be getting 5 into 0 plus 3, that is 3 value. Next I will be getting 5 into 1 plus 3, that is 8. Next I will be getting 5 into 2 plus 3, that is 10 plus 3, that is 13, like that. So if you choose negative quotients, I can have quotient is equal to minus 1. So if the quotient is minus 1, I will be getting the value, that is 5 into minus 1 plus 3, that is minus 5 plus 3, that is 2, minus 2, okay, like that. So minus 5 into minus 2 is minus 10 plus 3 is, I will be getting minus 7, okay, like that. So answer is A. Next, question. The element 2 is a generator of Z13 star, comma, star 13. The answer is true. So to check whether 2 is a generator, what you can do is, okay, you can make use of the cyclic group concept. That is 2 to the power 0 mod 13, 2 to the power 1 mod 13, 2 to the power 2 mod 13, 2 to the power 3 mod 13, like that. Okay, you can proceed. Okay, so you'll be continuing till you get the answer is equal to 1. Or another way is, we have one more property where I'll be finding the formula. I'll be finding the uh, prime factors of 13 minus 1, that is the 12. Then I will check whether these prime factors will divide the values. Okay, we have two ways of checking for this. So the answer is true. Then 29, the element of Z7 star R. The answer is B, because we know that the formula is I will choosing the value of the I such that it is greater than 0 and lesser than n. So that means it lies between 1 and 6. So again, in between 1 and 6, one more condition to be satisfied is, okay, the value whichever you are choosing, okay, when you find a GCD between the value n and the values of I which is greater than 0 and lesser than n must be co-prime with the value of n. So for Z7 star, I will be having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as the answer. Then the final question. Z4 minus 0, 4 star is a group. The answer is false, because this Z4 minus 0, 4 star is a group. If you want, when you are subtracting a value, when you are subtracting the value of 0 from the given group, okay, and here the order of the group, the elements, any value for the given group is 4, which is not a prime number. Okay, condition to be satisfied for this to be a group is the value of n must be a prime number. Okay, since the value is 4 is even, this is not a group. Okay, that is, we have the formula Zn minus 0, comma, n star is a group if and only if n is a prime value. Okay, since n is 4 which is even, the answer is false. Okay, so I hope these are clarified your doubts. Okay. Hello. Yes, any doubts, students? Hello. Mm.